Have you ever paused, even for a moment, and asked yourself, what does it mean to truly live? Not just to get through the days or achieve the next milestone, but to wake up each morning feeling vibrant, purposeful, and deeply connected to the world around you. Picture yourself years from now, perhaps in your 60s, 70s, or even beyond, moving through life with the same clarity and joy you've always dreamed of. Imagine maintaining your health, nurturing relationships that fill your heart, and finding meaning in every moment, big or small. It's not a distant fantasy. The key to this kind of life isn't found in fleeting accomplishments or material wealth. It's in the habits we cultivate today. These habits are like seeds, each one holding the potential to grow into something extraordinary. And the best part? It's never too late to start planting. I want you to think of this not as a lecture or a checklist, but as a journey we're taking together. Along the way, we'll explore 8 powerful habits that can transform your life, guiding you toward a future filled with resilience, joy, and fulfillment. These aren't just ideas, they're lived experiences. Stories from people who have embraced these practices and found themselves thriving in ways they never thought possible. So, take a deep breath and let yourself lean into this moment. Let's embark on this exploration together, not with the pressure of perfection, but with the openness of possibility. Because the life you want, the one filled with purpose, connection, and peace, isn't waiting in some far-off place. It's here, in the choices you make today. Have you ever seen someone so full of life in their later years that you wonder, what's their secret? It's not just about good genes or luck. It's about the choices they've made and the habits they've embraced. Physical health is the cornerstone of independence, joy, and longevity. It's the quiet force that lets you chase your dreams, connect with loved ones, and wake up each day feeling ready to take on the world. Let me tell you about Anna. At 65, she faced a harsh reality. Climbing stairs felt like summiting a mountain, and her body ached with the weight of a sedentary lifestyle. One day, after a fall that left her shaken but unharmed, she decided something had to change. She joined a gentle yoga class at her local community center, feeling awkward and out of place at first, but week by week, her balance improved. Soon, she was stretching farther, standing taller, and even smiling through the poses. At 75, Anna isn't just attending yoga classes, she's teaching them. Her newfound flexibility and strength mean she hasn't fallen in years. She carries her groceries without assistance, plays with her grandchildren, and wakes up each morning grateful for what her body can do. Yoga gave her more than physical resilience. It gave her a sense of empowerment, a realization that age is just a number when you invest in yourself. This mirrors a key principle in Buddhist philosophy. Our body is our temple. By caring for it with love and intention, we honor the life we've been given. Just as a strong tree stands firm through storms, a well-cared-for body provides stability amidst life's challenges. Nutrition plays an equally important role. Imagine fueling your car with low-quality gas. It sputters, breaks down, and struggles to perform. The same applies to our bodies. Whole foods like vibrant vegetables, lean proteins, and fresh fruits are gifts of the earth, and choosing them is an act of mindfulness. Take inspiration from the Dalai Lama, who once remarked that proper care for the body isn't indulgence but a responsibility. He finds joy in simple, nourishing meals and remains active even in his later years. His vitality isn't accidental, it's intentional, a reflection of mindfulness in action. When we invest in physical health, we're also investing in our independence. Think of how empowering it is to dress yourself, prepare your meals, or walk through a park without relying on others. These simple acts aren't small, they're profound expressions of freedom. And in freedom, we find a deep sense of gratitude for the life we live. As Anna's story teaches us, it's never too late to begin. The first step can be as simple as a morning walk, a dance in your living room, or a mindful choice at the dinner table. Each small action strengthens the foundation for a life filled with vitality, joy, and purpose. Let me introduce you to Peter. a retired engineer who embodies the idea that learning keeps the soul alive. 70. Peter faced an unexpected challenge. Retirement brought with it a quiet loneliness. The days stretched on without the structure of work, and his once active mind began to feel restless. One day, as he was cleaning out his attic, Peter stumbled upon an old violin. It had been his father's, untouched for decades. On a whim, he decided to learn how to play. The first notes he coaxed out were far from harmonious, but something magical happened. His brain lit up with excitement. Each evening, Peter sat with his violin, teaching his fingers to dance across the strings. He joined a local music group, where he connected with younger musicians who admired his determination. The challenge of learning a new skill kept his mind sharp, while the joy of music brought laughter and connection back into his life. Peter's story is a testament to the power of curiosity. It's easy to let the mind stagnate, to settle into routine and lose the spark of wonder. But when we choose to remain curious, we invite life to surprise us. This mirrors the Buddhist idea of beginner's mind, approaching every moment with openness and the willingness to learn. No matter your age, our brains thrive on novelty, whether it's solving puzzles, reading about a new topic, or trying something as bold as learning an instrument. Each act of curiosity strengthens our mental resilience. This is how we adapt to change and stay sharp in the face of life's complexities. Peter's journey reminds us that learning doesn't end with formal education. It's a lifelong dance, one that keeps us engaged, joyful, and connected. In each new skill we try or question we explore, we not only grow ourselves but also inspire those around us. If you've ever felt the warmth of a hug from a dear friend or the joy of a shared laugh with family, you know that relationships are the heart of a fulfilling life. Oprah Winfrey, a beloved icon of connection, often reflects on how her supportive network of friends and mentors has grounded her through life storms. She credits much of her success to the strength of those relationships. This truth resonates deeply with Buddhist teachings. The Buddha often spoke of the Sangha, a community of like-minded individuals walking the path together. Connection is a source of strength, a reminder that we are not alone in our joys or struggles. Consider Sarah, who moved to a new city in her 60s. At first, she felt isolated, but instead of retreating, she joined a local gardening club. Over time, she built a network of friends who shared her passion for nurturing life. Together, they not only planted flowers but also seeds of friendship, creating a community that brought color and meaning to her days. When we invest in relationships, we create a reservoir of love and support that enriches our lives. Volunteering, joining clubs, or simply reaching out to reconnect with an old friend can ignite a sense of belonging. Relationships remind us that our happiness is intertwined with the happiness of others, echoing the Buddhist principle of interconnectedness. Life, as we know, isn't always smooth, but the difference between surviving and thriving lies in how we face adversity. Resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about finding the strength to rise after each fall. The Dalai Lama, a beacon of resilience, often speaks of compassion as the key to emotional strength. When we cultivate kindness toward ourselves and others, we soften the sharp edges of life's difficulties. Compassion allows us to face challenges with grace, transforming pain into growth. Imagine a single mother, Maria, juggling work, family, and financial struggles. Every day feels like an uphill battle, but she begins practicing gratitude, writing down 3 things she's thankful for each night. Slowly, her perspective shifts. Instead of seeing only the obstacles, she starts noticing the small joys, her child's laughter, kind word from a stranger, or the beauty of a sunset. Gratitude doesn't erase her struggles, but it gives her the strength to keep going. This practice aligns with the Buddhist teaching of impermanence. By embracing the fleeting nature of life, we learn to cherish its beauty and find meaning even in hardship. Resilience is a skill, one built on compassion, mindfulness, and gratitude. Have you ever watched a child play, their laughter filling the air with pure, unfiltered joy? That childlike wonder is something we often lose as we grow older. But it doesn't have to disappear. Take Mary, a 90-year-old comedian who still performs stand-up. Her jokes, infused with wisdom and wit, keep audiences laughing while reminding them that life is too short to take too seriously. Mary's secret? She sees humor in life's quirks, turning everyday moments into sources of joy. This playful spirit is a cornerstone of a resilient life. Laughter, as Buddhist teachings suggest, lightens the heart and connects us to the present moment. It reminds us to not cling too tightly to life's struggles, but to embrace its unpredictability with an open heart. These stories and reflections paint a picture of what it means to live a fulfilling and resilient life. Each habit, whether physical health, mental sharpness, meaningful connections, or emotional resilience, teaches us not only how to thrive but how to embrace the profound truth of interconnectedness and impermanence. As you reflect on these lessons, ask yourself, what small change can I make today to honor my body, mind, and soul? Remember, transformation begins with intention, and every step you take brings you closer to the vibrant, joyful life you deserve. Have you ever watched a child discover something for the first time? A butterfly landing gently on a flower, or a puzzle piece clicking perfectly into place. Their eyes widen, their faces light up, and you can almost feel their minds expanding with wonder. Somewhere along the way, many of us lose that spark. The responsibilities of adulthood weigh us down, and our natural curiosity becomes buried beneath routines and familiarity. But what if I told you that rediscovering this curiosity isn't just for children? What if it's the key to staying mentally sharp, resilient, and fulfilled no matter your age? Peter's story comes to mind. He spent over 4 decades as an engineer, solving problems and designing systems with precision. When he retired, his once busy days became quiet, his once active mind unchallenged. First, he enjoyed the leisure, lazy mornings, long walks, but soon, an unsettling boredom crept in. His mind, once so sharp, felt dulled by monotony. One day, as he cleaned out his attic, he stumbled upon an old violin, dusty and neglected in its case. It had been his father's, a keepsake Peter had always meant to explore but never quite found the time for. On a whim, he decided to learn. The first sounds he made weren't music. They were more like the wails of a cat in distress. His fingers fumbled. His patience was tested, and more than once he thought about giving up. But Peter kept at it, coaxing out notes that were slightly less screechy with each passing week. Slowly, his brain woke up, reading music, memorizing finger placements, and practicing rhythm demanded focus and stretched his cognitive limits. Even more surprising was how much joy he found in the process. Peter joined a local community orchestra, where he found himself surrounded by younger musicians. He connected with them not just through music, but through shared laughter over their missteps and triumphs. They admired his perseverance, and he, in turn, found their energy infectious. The violin, once a symbol of his father's forgotten dreams, became the instrument through which Peter rediscovered his own vitality. What Peter learned, without realizing it, was the power of lifelong learning. Science supports what Peter's experience demonstrated. Our brains crave stimulation. Like muscles, they grow stronger with use. And the beauty of learning is that it doesn't just preserve our mental sharpness. It enriches our lives. It teaches us that no matter how old we are, there's always more to explore, more to discover, more to become. This is not unlike the Buddhist concept of a beginner's mind, a state of openness and willingness to learn as if seeing something for the first time. When we approach life with this mindset, challenges become opportunities rather than obstacles. Peter didn't view his age as a limitation. He saw it as a chance to explore a world he'd never touched before. Imagine what might change in your life if you viewed your own challenges that way. Curiosity is the bridge that connects us to the world around us. It invites us to pick up a book on a subject we've never studied, to solve a puzzle that teases our intellect, or to engage in conversations with people whose experiences differ from our own. It pushes us to grow beyond the confines of our comfort zones. And it's not just about feeding the brain, it's about nourishing the soul. Learning something new reignites a spark, a reminder that we are still capable of growth and transformation. Think about the times you've been most alive. Were you mastering a skill, uncovering a passion, or diving into an unfamiliar experience? That feeling of aliveness isn't reserved for our younger years. It's available to us at any age, as long as we're willing to reach for it, just like Peter, who turned the pages of his life to find a new chapter waiting to be written. You, too, have the power to keep evolving. Every new skill, every fresh perspective, and every step outside your comfort zone is an act of defiance against stagnation. It's a declaration that your story isn't finished, that there's more to discover and more to give. Peter's violin wasn't just an instrument. It was a key to connection, purpose, and vitality. And while your violin might look different, the principle is the same. What will you discover when you decide to stay curious? As Peter's story shows us, staying curious isn't just about keeping your brain sharp. It's about keeping your heart engaged and your spirit alive. It's about remembering that life, in all its complexities and challenges, is still full of wonder waiting to be uncovered. So, what new chapter might you begin today? What's the first note you'll play in the symphony of your next adventure? It's often said that no one achieves anything alone, and there's a profound truth in that. Human connection is the invisible thread that weaves our lives into a tapestry of shared experiences, mutual support, and love. Think about the moments that have brought you the most joy. Were you laughing with a friend, celebrating a milestone with family, or simply enjoying a quiet conversation with someone who truly understands you? It's in these moments that we realize the depth of our need for connection and the profound beauty of it. Oprah Winfrey often speaks about the importance of the people we surround ourselves with. She shares that one of the greatest lessons she's learned is the power of gratitude and connection. Her journey from adversity to global success was not one she walked alone. She attributes much of her strength to the people who supported her, the mentors who guided her, and the friends who stood by her side through every twist and turn. Oprah's story reminds us that no matter how strong we are, our relationships are what keep us grounded and motivated. But relationships, like gardens, require care and attention. Think of a time when you felt deeply connected to someone, a family member, a friend, or even a kind stranger. What made that moment special? It wasn't just the words exchanged, but the sense of being seen, heard, and valued. These are the bonds that sustain us, especially during life's storms. I once knew a woman named Linda who had recently retired and found herself feeling adrift. Without the daily structure of work, her social life began to fade, and loneliness crept in. One day, on a whim, she joined a local book club. At first, she was hesitant, unsure if she would fit in, but over time, those weekly meetings became the highlight of her week. Discussions about characters and plots turned into personal stories and laughter. The group became her anchor, a community that reminded her she wasn't alone. Through this simple act of showing up, Linda rediscovered the joy of connection and the comfort of belonging. Connection doesn't always have to look like close friendships or family ties. Sometimes, it's found in giving back. There's something profoundly fulfilling about offering your time, skills, or kindness to others, volunteering at a local shelter, mentoring a younger colleague, or even helping a neighbor with their groceries can create a ripple effect of positivity. These acts of giving remind us that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. I think about a man named Thomas, a retired teacher who felt his purpose slipping away after leaving the classroom. Unsure of what to do next, he started volunteering at a community center, teaching literacy to adults. He hadn't expected the way his students' determination would inspire him. Watching them learn, grow, and overcome challenges reignited his own sense of purpose. He often said that he received far more than he gave, proof that when we lift others, we lift ourselves. Buddhist philosophy teaches us that our happiness is deeply tied to the happiness of others. The concept of interconnectedness is a reminder that no action, however small, exists in isolation. When we nurture relationships, we're not just enriching our own lives, but also contributing to a web of kindness and compassion that extends far beyond us. It's easy in today's fast-paced, digital world to feel disconnected, even when surrounded by people. But true connection requires presence, a willingness to set aside distractions and genuinely engage. It's the difference between simply hearing someone and truly listening to them, between being in the same room and being fully there. As you think about the relationships in your life, consider this: who has been your anchor, your source of strength and joy, and how can you nurture those connections? Maybe it's a call to an old friend, an invitation to dinner, or simply expressing gratitude to someone who has impacted your life. These small gestures ripple outward, strengthening the bonds that hold us together. In the end, it's not the accolades we achieve or the material possessions we gather that bring us the deepest fulfillment. It's the people we share our journey with, the laughter, the tears, and the quiet moments of understanding. Relationships are what make life rich, and investing in them is one of the most meaningful things we can do. So, who will you reach out to today? What seeds of connection will you plant, knowing they will bloom into something beautiful? There's a quiet power in financial security that is often underestimated. It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet or the size of your bank account. It's about the freedom to live life on your own terms. It's the peace of mind that allows you to sleep soundly at night, knowing you're prepared for whatever comes your way. Yet, financial security doesn't just happen. It's a deliberate choice, a collection of habits and decisions made over time, each one building toward a life where money is no longer a source of worry but a tool for fulfillment. Let me tell you about Maria and Daniel, a couple who seemed like ordinary middle-class folks to anyone who met them. They didn't have flashy cars or a big house, and they weren't the kind of people you'd expect to retire early. But Maria and Daniel had a vision. Early in their marriage, they sat down and talked about what they wanted from life, not just what they thought they were supposed to want, but what truly mattered to them. They dreamed of spending their later years traveling, exploring new cultures, and volunteering for causes they cared about. They knew this vision would require sacrifices. While their friends were upgrading to bigger homes and the latest gadgets, Maria and Daniel made a different choice. They created a simple budget, one that allowed them to live comfortably but saved aggressively for the future. Daniel would joke about their spaghetti nights as they opted for home-cooked meals over eating out. But every decision was intentional. Each saved dollar wasn't just money, it was a ticket to their dream. They also made smart investments, educating themselves about the stock market and working with a financial advisor to diversify their portfolio. They weren't trying to get rich quick. They were building a foundation. By the time they reached their 50s, Maria and Daniel had paid off their home, built a strong retirement fund, and achieved financial independence. Today, in their early 60s, Maria and Daniel are living the life they once dreamed of. They've visited over 20 countries, from the bustling streets of Tokyo to the serene beaches of Greece. They spend part of each year volunteering, mentoring young professionals, and contributing to community projects. Their lives aren't extravagant, but they're rich in experiences and meaning. Maria often says, "We're not wealthy in the traditional sense, but we're wealthier than we ever imagined." What makes their story so powerful isn't just the result, it's the journey. Financial security isn't about denying yourself joy in the present. It's about aligning your spending and saving with your deepest values. When money becomes a tool rather than a source of stress, it opens doors to a life filled with freedom and purpose. The Buddhist principle of mindfulness aligns beautifully with this idea. Mindful financial decisions, whether it's choosing to spend less, save more, or invest wisely, are acts of living with intention. By being fully present with each choice, we create a sense of balance and harmony in our financial lives. It's not about hoarding wealth or being consumed by the pursuit of money, but about ensuring that money serves a meaningful purpose. Consider how many of us are caught in cycles of financial anxiety. We stress over bills, regret impulsive purchases, or feel trapped by debt. But what if we approached money with the same patience and care we give to other areas of our lives? A simple budget can feel like a form of self-care, a way of respecting both your present needs and your future dreams. Investing for the long term becomes an act of hope, a belief in the possibilities of tomorrow. Even if retirement feels far away, the steps you take now ripple into the future. Every dollar saved, every wise decision made, is a seed planted in the garden of your financial well-being. And as Maria and Daniel's story shows, it's never too early or too late to start. What matters most is that you take the first step, no matter how small it seems. Think about what financial security could mean for you. Is it the ability to explore your passions without worrying about income? Is it the peace of mind that comes from knowing your family is provided for? Or perhaps it's the freedom to give back, to use your resources to make a difference in the lives of others. Whatever it is, it's within reach, one thoughtful decision at a time. Money can be a source of anxiety, but it can also be a source of empowerment. When you take control of your finances, you take control of your life. Maria and Daniel's story is a reminder that financial security isn't about how much you have. It's about how wisely you use it to create a life of joy, purpose, and freedom. So, what vision will you build for your future? And what steps will you take today to bring that vision to life? Part 5. Emotional well-being. Cultivate resilience and positivity. Have you ever met someone who seems to radiate light even in the darkest moments? Someone whose calm presence feels like a balm, whose laughter can break through even the heaviest clouds. People like this aren't immune to life's struggles. They face challenges like everyone else. What sets them apart is their ability to cultivate emotional well-being through resilience, positivity, and purpose. The Dalai Lama often speaks of compassion and resilience as the cornerstones of happiness. His life, marked by exile and the loss of his homeland, could have been a story of bitterness or despair. Instead, it's a story of hope, grounded in his unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. He finds joy in simple moments, a kind gesture, a shared laugh, and uses compassion as both a shield and a sword, protecting himself from anger and cutting through negativity to foster understanding. It's a perspective that reminds me of Sarah, a woman I once met who carried a quiet strength that inspired everyone around her. Sarah's life had been anything but easy. She lost her husband unexpectedly in her early 40s and found herself raising 2 children alone. There were days when grief threatened to overwhelm her, but Sarah made a conscious decision to focus on the beauty still present in her life. She began keeping a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things she was thankful for each day. First, felt forced, but over time, it became a lifeline. One entry read, "The sound of my daughter's laughter." Another, "The kindness of a neighbor who brought over a casserole." Slowly, these small moments of gratitude stitched together a fabric of hope that carried her through even the hardest days. Sarah often said that looking for the good didn't erase the pain but gave her the strength to carry it. Resilience isn't about pretending everything is fine or ignoring hardship. It's about acknowledging the difficulty while choosing to keep moving forward. It's the ability to fall and rise again, each time a little stronger, a little wiser. Sarah found resilience not just in gratitude but in action. She started volunteering at a local shelter, helping others who were struggling. Giving her time and energy to others not only brought her a sense of purpose, but also reminded her that she wasn't alone in her challenges. Purpose is a powerful force. It anchors us in times of uncertainty and gives us a reason to persevere. For Sarah, it was her children and her community. For others, it might be a career, a creative pursuit, or a cause they're passionate about. The key is to find meaning in what you do, to connect your actions to something larger than yourself. One of the most profound aspects of emotional well-being is the ability to see beauty in everyday moments. It's easy to overlook these when life feels overwhelming. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the sound of birdsong in the morning, or the comfort of a good meal. But these moments are the building blocks of happiness. When we train ourselves to notice and savor them, We create a buffer against life's difficulties. The Buddhist concept of impermanence, or anicca, teaches us that all things, both good and bad, are temporary. This perspective can be a source of great comfort. When we face challenges, remembering their impermanence helps us endure. And when we experience joy, it reminds us to cherish it fully, knowing it won't last forever. This balance between acceptance and appreciation is at the heart of emotional well-being. There's also something transformative about cultivating compassion, not just for others but for yourself. Too often, we're our harshest critics, carrying guilt or shame that weighs us down. But what if we treated ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a dear friend? Self-compassion isn't indulgence. It's a recognition of our shared humanity. It's a way of saying, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. Imagine a life where you approach challenges with resilience, where you find joy in simple pleasures, and where your actions are guided by purpose and compassion. It's not about being happy all the time. That's neither realistic nor necessary. It's about creating a foundation of emotional well-being that allows you to weather storms and savor the sunshine. Think about your own life. What brings you joy? What gives you strength in difficult times? And how might you cultivate more resilience, positivity, and purpose? These aren't questions with quick answers, but they're worth exploring, because when we take the time to nurture our emotional well-being, we don't just improve our own lives, we become a source of light and strength for those around us. And isn't that the kind of impact we all hope to have? Part 6. Spiritual growth. Align with your purpose. There's a quiet beauty in the way a monk sits in meditation, still and serene, as if the chaos of the world simply flows around him. In that stillness, there's a profound sense of peace, an acceptance of the present moment, and a deep connection to something greater. Spiritual growth, in its essence, is about finding that stillness within yourself, no matter where you are or what challenges you face. It's about aligning your life with a sense of purpose that transcends the mundane and connects you to the infinite. I once met a monk named Tenzin during a visit to a small temple nestled in the hills of northern India. His life was simple, a daily routine of meditation, prayer, and service, but there was a lightness about him, a sense of joy that seemed to radiate from every word he spoke. Curious, I asked him what the source of his happiness was. He smiled gently and said, I am at peace because I see the beauty of each moment. I am grateful for the breath in my lungs, the sun on my face, and the chance to serve others. Tenzin's words stayed with me. His life wasn't filled with material wealth or grand achievements, yet he embodied a sense of fulfillment that many of us spend our lives chasing. His secret wasn't a complicated formula. It was mindfulness. By practicing meditation each day, Tenzin cultivated an awareness that allowed him to fully experience the present moment. He didn't dwell on the past or worry about the future. Instead, he embraced the now with open arms. Meditation, as Tenzin explained, is like training the mind to be still, much like calming a restless pond. When the ripples of distraction fade, we begin to see our reflection clearly. In that clarity, we find our purpose not in grand, sweeping revelations but in the quiet understanding of who we are and what truly matters. Meditation doesn't just bring calm, it brings connection to yourself, to others, and to the world around you. Tenzin also shared a practice of daily gratitude, something he called counting blessings. Each night before bed, he would reflect on 3 things he was thankful for, no matter how small. Could be the laughter of a fellow monk, the taste of fresh fruit, or the simple fact that the day had unfolded as it should. Gratitude, he said, is the antidote to dissatisfaction. When we focus on what we have, rather than what we lack, we begin to see life's abundance. Gratitude has a way of shifting our perspective. I once knew a woman named Clara, who had faced her share of struggles, financial hardships, health issues, and the loss of loved ones. Yet, Clara carried herself with a quiet strength and an infectious optimism. She began every day by writing down 3 things she was grateful for, just as Tenzin did. Over time, This simple practice transformed her outlook. She began to see beauty where she once saw burdens, opportunities where she once saw obstacles. Gratitude didn't erase her struggles, but it gave her the strength to navigate them with grace. Beyond mindfulness and gratitude lies the deeper understanding that we are all part of a greater whole. This sense of interconnectedness is at the heart of spiritual growth. Tenzin spoke often of the concept of dependent origination, the Buddhist idea that all things arise in dependence upon other things. It's a reminder that we are not separate from the world around us. We are threads in a vast and intricate web of life. I remember a moment when this truth became vividly clear to me. It was a quiet morning, and I was walking through a forest just as the sun began to rise. The air was crisp, and the world felt alive with possibility. As I watched the golden light filter through the trees, I felt an overwhelming sense of connection, not just to the forest but to everything. I realized that the air I breathed was a gift from the trees, that the ground beneath my feet had been shaped by countless years of life and decay, that I was part of something infinite and timeless. This sense of connection isn't just poetic, it's profoundly grounding. When we see ourselves as part of a larger whole, our perspective shifts, life's challenges feel less isolating, and our joys feel richer because they're shared with the world around us. It's a perspective that fosters compassion, both for ourselves and for others. When we recognize that we're all interconnected, it becomes natural to want to care for others, to uplift them as we uplift ourselves. Spiritual growth is not about perfection or escaping the challenges of life. It's about finding meaning and purpose in the midst of it all. It's about aligning your actions with your values, cultivating mindfulness and gratitude, and embracing your place in the vast, interconnected universe. As you reflect on your own journey, consider this: what brings you a sense of peace and purpose? How might you create space in your life for mindfulness or gratitude? And how can you deepen your connection to the world around you? These aren't questions with easy answers, but they're worth asking, because when we nurture our spiritual growth, we don't just enrich our own lives, we bring light to the lives of those around us. And in doing so, we honor the infinite beauty of the world we're so deeply connected to. Part 7. Continuous learning, adapt, and evolve. Life has a way of throwing us curveballs when we least expect them. Just when we think we've figured everything out, the world shifts beneath our feet. It's in these moments of change that we're faced with a choice: to resist, clinging to what's familiar, or to adapt and evolve, embracing the unknown as an opportunity to grow. Those who choose the latter often discover that learning is the thread that keeps life vibrant and meaningful. No matter our age or circumstances, Jane Fonda's story is a testament to this truth. At 85, she continues to surprise the world, not just by acting but by writing, advocating for social issues, and even engaging younger generations on platforms like TikTok. What makes Jane so remarkable isn't just her resilience but her relentless curiosity and willingness to learn. She often speaks about how she views every phase of her life as a chance to grow, to shed old skins and step into new roles with openness and grace. Jane's journey wasn't without its challenges. She's spoken candidly about the mistakes she's made and the lessons she's learned along the way, but rather than let regret weigh her down, she's used it as fuel for transformation. She once said, "We are not meant to be perfect, we are meant to be whole." That wholeness, she believes, comes from the courage to adapt, to keep asking questions, and to never stop learning. This ability to embrace change is what psychologists call a growth mindset, the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort and perseverance. It's a mindset that allows us to see failures not as roadblocks but as stepping stones, each one teaching us something valuable about ourselves and the world around us. I once met a man named Robert who exemplified this mindset in a way that left a lasting impression. In his late 60s, Robert decided to learn to code. He had spent most of his career as a carpenter, crafting furniture with his hands. But as his body aged, he realized he needed to find new ways to engage his mind. First, the idea of tackling technology felt daunting. He hadn't even owned a smartphone until a few years prior. But Robert approached the challenge with curiosity and humor, often joking about how his grandchildren were his best tech support. Over time, he not only mastered the basics but also created a website to showcase the furniture he had made over the years. Through the process, Robert discovered something unexpected: a sense of connection to the younger generation. His willingness to learn sparked conversations with his grandchildren, who were thrilled to share their knowledge. What started as a personal challenge became a bridge between generations, enriching not only his life but theirs as well. Continuous learning isn't just about acquiring new skills. It's about staying engaged with the world. It's about curiosity, the kind that drives us to pick up a book on a subject we know nothing about, to try a new recipe, or to travel to a place where the language and culture are unfamiliar. Each act of exploration keeps our minds sharp and our spirits alive. I remember a story about a woman named Eleanor who decided, at the age of 72, to take up painting. She had no formal training, just a lifelong fascination with color and texture. Her first attempts were clumsy, and she often doubted whether she had any talent. But Eleanor didn't let those doubts stop her. She kept experimenting, each brushstroke a conversation with herself. Over time, her work grew more confident, and she found a community of fellow artists who encouraged and inspired her. For Eleanor, painting wasn't about becoming great. It was about discovering something new within herself. This openness to new experiences is deeply rooted in the Buddhist concept of impermanence. Life is constantly changing, and when we resist that change, we suffer. But when we embrace it, seeing each shift as an opportunity to grow, we find freedom. Continuous learning is a way of aligning ourselves with this natural flow, staying adaptable and engaged as the world around us evolves. Think about the times in your life when you felt most alive. Chances are, those moments involved some kind of learning, whether it was mastering a skill, exploring a new place, or connecting with someone whose perspective challenged your own. Learning keeps us curious, and curiosity keeps us young, no matter our age. As you reflect on your own journey, consider what sparks your curiosity. Is there a hobby you've always wanted to try or a subject you've longed to explore? Maybe it's a language, a musical instrument, or even a skill like gardening or photography. Whatever it is, remember that it's never too late to begin. The act of learning, no matter how small, is a declaration that life still holds wonders waiting to be discovered. Jane Fonda once said, "Staying curious is the key to staying young." Her words remind us that continuous learning isn't just about keeping our minds sharp. It's about keeping our hearts open. It's about approaching each day with the excitement of a beginner, ready to adapt, evolve, and uncover new possibilities. So, what will you learn next? What new chapter will you write in the story of your life? Part 8. Sense of humor, embrace joy. There's a kind of magic in laughter. It breaks down walls, lightens heavy hearts, and reminds us that even in the face of life's toughest moments, there's still room for joy. Humor is often thought of as something fleeting, a punchline, a momentary chuckle, but when embraced as a way of life, it becomes something far deeper. It's a way of seeing the world, of finding beauty and absurdity in the everyday, and of connecting with others in a language that transcends words. I think of a woman named Mabel, a 90-year-old comedian whose life has been a testament to the power of humor. Mabel started performing stand-up in her late 60s, well past the age most people might consider stepping onto a stage for the first time. Her jokes were sharp, her timing impeccable, but what made her truly memorable was the way she wove her life experiences into her act. She'd joke about everything from her grandchildren's tech habits to the quirks of aging, and her audiences loved her for it. One night, after a show, someone asked her how she managed to stay so vibrant and full of energy. Mabel laughed. Of course, she did, and replied, "Well, you have to laugh at life before it gets the last laugh on you." It wasn't just a punchline. It was a philosophy that had carried her through decades of challenges. From losing her husband to navigating health scares and the inevitable aches and pains of growing older. For Mabel, Humor wasn't about ignoring life's difficulties. It was about meeting them head-on with a smile and a sense of perspective. That's the thing about humor. It doesn't deny pain or hardship. Instead, transforms them, turning what might feel overwhelming into something manageable. When we laugh, even at our own expense, we take back a little bit of control. It's as if we're saying to the universe, "You might knock me down, but I'll get back up, and I'll be laughing when I do." Children understand this instinctively. Watch a child at play, and you'll see someone fully immersed in the joy of the moment. They don't worry about looking silly or making mistakes. They embrace the absurdity of life with open arms. Somewhere along the way, many of us lose that playfulness, trading it for seriousness and self-consciousness. But what if we didn't have to? What if we allowed ourselves to relish life's simple pleasures with the same childlike wonder? I remember a story about my uncle, who was well into his 70s but still loved a good prank. One Thanksgiving, he filled the family's gravy boat with chocolate pudding and served it with a straight face, watching as everyone at the table tried to figure out what had gone wrong with the recipe. The room erupted in laughter when he finally revealed the joke. And it became one of those stories that gets retold year after year. The memory of that shared moment bringing smiles long after the fact. Humor connects us. It bridges gaps and dissolves barriers, creating moments of shared humanity. Even a simple smile or a lighthearted comment can lift someone's spirits in ways you might never fully understand. And the best part? Costs nothing. It requires no special training, no equipment, just a willingness to see the world through a lens of lightness. Positivity isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the good, to find joy even in the quirks and imperfections of daily life. It's the delight of a favorite song coming on the radio, the silliness of a pet's antics, or the absurdity of spilling coffee on your shirt 5 minutes before an important meeting. Life is full of these little moments, and when we choose to laugh instead of lament, we cultivate a sense of resilience that carries us through even the hardest days. Mabel often said that her sense of humor kept her young at heart, and she wasn't wrong. Studies have shown that laughter has tangible benefits for our health. It reduces stress, boosts our immune system, and even improves cardiovascular function. But beyond the science, there's something deeply human about our capacity to laugh. It reminds us of our shared experience, our ability to find light even in the darkness. As I reflect on Mabel's story and the countless other moments of humor I've witnessed, I can't help but feel grateful for the gift of laughter. It's a gift we can give to ourselves and to others, one that costs nothing but means everything. So, as you navigate your own journey, remember to carry a sense of humor with you. Laugh at the unexpected, embrace the playful, and find joy in the imperfect. Life is unpredictable, often challenging, and occasionally downright absurd, but it's also beautiful, full of moments that remind us why it's worth it. And when we choose to approach it with humor, we don't just make the journey lighter, we make it richer, more vibrant, and filled with the kind of joy that lingers long after the laughter fades. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to leave you with a thought that has stayed with me ever since I first began exploring these habits. The life we long for isn't built all at once. It's created moment by moment, habit by habit, with every small action we take to honor our well-being, connect with others, and align with our purpose. Think back to the stories we've shared, the grandmother who found strength and grace in yoga, the retired engineer who rediscovered curiosity through music, the couple who turned discipline into freedom, and the comedian whose laughter kept her young at heart. Each of them chose to take a step, however small, toward the life they envisioned, and each of those steps grew into something extraordinary. Now, it's your turn. Which habit resonates most with you? Maybe it's the idea of nurturing your physical health. Or perhaps you're inspired by the thought of building deeper connections or embracing the joy of lifelong learning. Whatever it is, start there. Begin with one small change, one deliberate action, and watch how it ripples outward, transforming not just your future but the way you experience life right now. Life isn't perfect, It's messy and unpredictable, filled with both challenges and beauty, but that's exactly what makes it so precious. When we approach it with mindfulness, gratitude, and a willingness to grow, we don't just survive, we thrive. So, let me leave you with one final question. What step will you take today to begin your journey toward a more fulfilling and resilient life? Remember, this isn't the end. It's the beginning of something remarkable. Let's keep walking this path together, sharing stories, learning from one another, and discovering the profound joy that comes from living with intention. If you found this journey meaningful, I invite you to stay connected with us here at Lotus Light Teachings. Together, we can explore life's most profound lessons and continue to grow into the people we were meant to be. Your future self is waiting, and they're smiling. Will you take the first step,